Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for clicking on that video. If you've been a long time subscriber to the podcast, I'm so very grateful. Welcome if you're new to this podcast and you're just discovering it. So it's been quite a while since I last posted a video here. My last video was 2 years ago, if you can't believe it. And I wasn't planning on being gone this long, but the past few years have been incredibly full, especially in terms of work. They have been truly transitional years for me professionally, and so it was just simply impossible to fit the podcast into my life, especially as I was filming pretty long videos, and it's not so much the filming as the editing the videos that is incredibly time consuming. So I'm back today. I'm incredibly happy to be back, and I've been thinking long and hard about this for the past few months. And I really want to get back here. I really want to bring this podcast back to life, but there will be definitely some changes. I really want to be more gentle to myself, to be kinder to myself. And one of the reasons as well why I just couldn't fit the podcast into my schedule is that I am, an unashamed perfectionist. But the problem with that is that I was editing my videos in a way that, would make me happy, but took a lot of time. And so I've decided, especially in the English version, which of course I'm going to make more mistakes when I'm talking, I'm going to hesitate a bit more, even though I absolutely adore English and I love speaking English. And I'm so grateful for all of you who follow me here in English for the English content. Of course, it's not my native language, so I am bound to make a few mistakes, to perhaps, search for a word. And I'm going to try and be kinder to myself when I'm editing and not, edit out all of these little mistakes and hesitations. So I hope you'll be kind to me as well in this respect. And I think it's a great way for me to move forward and, make this podcast manageable for me and sustainable, really. Another change as well that I'd like to implement here is just to change up the format of my videos, make shorter videos, perhaps on one specific project at a time. I definitely still plan on filming my works in progress and all that, but definitely filming different videos and episodes for the sewing and the knitting, for instance. And also, I'd really like to have, to intersperse, to alternate really these, more of a maker's diary videos, right? Intersperse these videos with different formats. For instance, I really like to devote, to have a, spatial, to devote specifically some videos to some, you know, um, brands that I particularly love and that have been bringing me so much. So for instance, I'd love to dedicate at least one video. It will probably be several because otherwise, again, the videos will be too long, to Lee Taylor, whose fabrics I've been sewing ever since she launched her brand, and I've been sewing a lot of her fabrics and patterns. So over it as well, for instance, so over it patterns, also some knitwear designers. I'd also like to focus on specific brands and show you the various projects I've been making, and share the details, all my experience about each base that they carry, for instance. And of course, an obvious example here is Dere Room Natura, which is obviously hands down my favorite brand of yarn. So regarding the language I'll be filming, and if you've been following me in the past, you may recall that at the very end, so 2 years ago, in the summer of 2 years ago, when I actually posted my last, my last few videos, I was alternating between French and English, and I had posted a couple of French videos on my channel for the very first time. Until then, my podcast had been exclusively in English. And in fact, my podcast started as an audio podcast 14 years ago, if you can believe it. It was first an audio podcast and then a video podcast here. And it was only pretty recently that I dabbled in filming in French. And I remember, had a poll on Instagram asking you what you would feel about my filming in French. And, of course, I've still been thinking about all of this over the past few years because really, I've never stopped wanting to get back here. It's really such a source of joy for me filming these podcasts, especially because of the interactions that I have with and you when you comment under the videos or you comment on Instagram. Uh, so um, so, in fact, I've never been able to make up my mind about filming in English or in French. And so I've decided not to decide. Okay. So, especially since, YouTube, their functionalities in terms of translating of subtitles have become vastly better over the past, I'd say precisely a couple of years, actually. Ever since I stopped, I made this very, very long break in my podcast. And so I'm thinking I will just film in whatever language suits my mood when I'm filming. I do love filming in both languages. I adore filming in English. I adore sharing with you in English, especially I just wouldn't want you, especially if you've been there for a long time. And I know some of you have been here for a very long time. And thank you so much for still being here. I wouldn't want to feel, to have you feel like I'm giving up on you or just not, neglecting you. It wouldn't be fair, really. And also, I really do enjoy talking in English, but it does mean a bit more editing for me. So I'll just see, whatever the mood strikes. Just really very much in keeping with the spirit I want to keep this podcast working now. Just carefree, kind to myself, you know, um, spontaneous kind of videos, really. So yeah, what I can promise you though is that there will be fabric, yarn, happy projects, future projects, and I really hope you keep on watching this podcast. Thank you again so much for watching today's podcast. I'd love for you to jump into the comments and let me know. But first of all, just say hi. That would just mean the world to me, really, to know that you've watched this and let me know what you'd like me to do, what you'd like to see here. Because again, I'm starting a new page and I'd love for you to help me write that page. So let me know what kinds of videos you'd like me to make and also whether you're here for the crochet, the sewing, the knitting, or all of them. So I'll see you very, very soon. And until then, I hope your making brings you joy. Bye bye.